Hi there, students. I'm XS. That's little x, little s, which stands for extra sweet, because that's what I am. I'm a Puppy-sensei VTuber, and I make Japanese language lessons to help you level up your abilities. Happy holidays, everyone. By the time you're seeing this video, Christmas will be over. Sad. But it's still the holiday season, isn't it? And with that in mind, I have a bit of a present for everyone. Well, actually, it's Manager Sama's present to you, so I'll let her tell you all about it. Oh, okay. I feel like I need some fanfare music or something. Big news! Manager Sama pulled some strings and was able to convince the school to get us our own new room. I'm so excited. I know you all can't wait to see it either. I'm like a kid on Christmas. I'm too excited to wait to open my presents, so let's get into it. Ikimashou! It's amazing. It's amazing. Look at it. Look at the new classroom. It's so majestic, isn't it? Majestic, majestic. Maybe not majestic. Maybe majestic is not the right word, but it's so me. It's giving Puppy-sensei, don't you think? Okay, so for today's content, we're still talking about that te form. Do you remember last episode? If you haven't watched last week's episode, I highly recommend that you go back and watch that. Otherwise, nothing that follows will seem magical or wondrous. Ha, no, no. We're not doing a Scrooge themed episode. Oh, oh. Wait a second. Actually, oh, no, 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 no. This sort of works. This so works. You're a dang genius, Manager Sama. Okay, well, without further ado, the Scrooge episode. um, Manager Sama says that we don't have the budget for a new scene because we blew our entire budget on this new classroom. So, yeah, um, sorry. Let's just get into it. We're gonna start here. Okay, so for our first ghost, we're going to be learning the te miru form. Let's look at a sentence. Ahem, ahem. Jacob Marley was trying to learn Japanese to begin with. Har har, I need the Japanese too, please. There we go. Jacob Marley wa Nihongo o benkyou shite mimashita. This is the first grammar pattern that we're going to learn among three grammar patterns for the te form suffixes, right? Just like the three spirits that Scrooge had to face. This is the te miru form, and it's brought to you by the Ghost of Christmas Past. Now, first, I want to go on record and assure you that this is not just a past tense only structure. It can be in the past tense or the present tense. I just needed a way to shoehorn it into the gimmick, and this was the best way to do it. So, Ghost of Christmas Past, if you will, a little holiday magic. There we go. Present tense. Jacob Mari wa Nihongo o benkyou shite miru. Okay, so this is the te miru suffix. When we add miru to the end of a verb in the te form, it means something like making an attempt to do that verb. The miru in this case is literally the verb miru, which means to see. And because we know that the te form is a continuative grammar pattern, it basically means something like do this verb and see, right? Do it and see. It's it's fuck around and find out time. Okay? So, by the way, that miru that we're seeing in benkyou shite miru, you can write that with the kanji, but as a suffix, you don't usually write it with the miru kanji, right? So miru with the kanji means to see, right? So anyway, benkyou shite miru means to try to study. It's literally to study and see, right? Study and see how it goes. This honestly isn't a very complicated grammar pattern. To be truthful, you really just have to remember how to conjugate that te form, and then you add miru. Or you could add mimas for polite sentences, or mita or mimashita for past tense sentences, right? That's perfectly fine too. Here's some really common verb patterns in the te miru form. Yonde miru means to try to read, as in to try to read some kanji that you're uncertain about. Happens to me all the time. Tabete miru means to try to eat. I often hear this in the context of new foods, like some kid would say, "Ah, sushi wa yada," and then the mom would be like, "Tabete mite kudasai." Please try to eat it. More on that later. Spoilers. And then yasunde miru means to try to rest, which is honestly what I should be doing right now because I am sick. But no, I'm going to power through this because I have to get this holiday episode out. Okay, so the te miru form, right? It's pretty simple, all things considered. But what if you wanted to create a sentence where you are currently, right now, trying to accomplish something? Well, in that case, we actually need another suffix. And that's the suffix that's going to be brought to us by the ghost of Christmas present. All right, that's te iru. The next te form that we're going to learn is the te iru. So here's a grammar point. Basically, when you mark a verb with the te iru ending, you're creating a present tense version of the verb where the verb in question is underway or where it's happening right now. Any verb that happens to be marked with the te iru form will be occurring in the present, at the moment, and it's just happening. This is something that's really important, and it's a distinction that we need to explore for Japanese with verbs, and it's actually something that I've said before, but I think it's important to go ahead and repeat it. In English, when we create tenses for our verbs, what's important is the time that something took place. So the difference between to learn something in the present tense and I learned something in the past tense for English is a simple question of time. Learned, past tense, is always happening in the past. I learn might be happening now, right? And I will learn indicates that it's going to happen in the future. I have a plan to do it. I'm fond of saying that Japanese doesn't really have a future tense, and part of the reason that I say that is because for Japanese, tense isn't so much about the time that something occurs as much as it is about the level of completion. Let's take a look at this little chart. For Japanese, the past tense of a verb, as in tabeta or tabemashita, indicates that the verb has been done. It's over. It's complete. We can really move on, right? Because in the case of a verb like taberu, right, in the past tense, tabeta, the evidence is gone. Whatever you ate, it no longer even exists because you ate it and it's gone and it's over. So for past tense in Japanese, the important thing is that something got completed, not necessarily that it happened in the past. It's just over. It's done with. The basic plain present form, something like taberu or in the polite form tabemasu, indicates that the verb in question is incomplete. That can mean that the verb is happening right now. So I might say, gohan o tabemasu. That means I eat rice, right? Pretty simple. I eat rice. Gohan o tabemasu. Okay? Now that can either mean that right now, in this moment, I'm eating that rice and I'm not done with it, or it can mean that I habitually eat rice. Rice is something that I eat. I eat rice from time to time. I'm not done with eating rice though. I will likely continue to eat rice at some point in the future because the verb is incomplete. With the te iru form, what's being indicated is that right now I am currently engaged in the act of eating rice. It's not habitual. So, gohan o tabete iru does not indicate that I frequently eat rice, or that I commonly eat rice, or even that I may ever eat rice ever again. But we do know that in this present moment, I am eating that rice. Gohan o tabete iru, right? Right now, I'm eating it. So let's think about that in terms of scope. The past tense in Japanese, the tabeta form, means that something happened in the past. It may or may not ever happen again. The taberu, the plain present form, right? Or the polite present form because they scope the same way, right? So taberu or tabemasu, that happens. Maybe it happened in the past, maybe it's happening right now. It's likely going to continue happening in the future. But the te iru form only scopes over the present moment. It's only valid right now. It's only true if it's happening in this exact moment. Tabete iru, I am eating it right now. Do you see what I mean about the scope of tense in Japanese? It's a bit more complex than English tense because it's not just past, present, future. It's, did it get done? Did it get done completely? Are we done with that verb? Is that verb still going? Or is that verb only happening right now in this moment, right? So it's a little bit more flexible in terms of how these terms stretch out over longer periods of time. Anyway, the point is that the Ghost of Christmas Present would very much vibe with the te iru type verb. And to create any te iru verb, we follow the rules that we learned in last episode, right? We would just do the following. We have the verb, we put it into the te form, and then we add iru, or imas for any polite context, right? Whatever verb we want, we conjugate it into the te form, plus iru, or imas. And that's pretty straightforward, isn't it? The other really handy thing is that the te iru form can be used to describe any number of different activities by any number of different subjects. So it's not just a construction that expresses what you are doing in the current moment. It can also express what someone else might be doing in the present moment. So let's look at two example sentences. 私は日本語を教えている. That means I am currently teaching Japanese. Another example sentence. バブクラチェットは家族と晩ご飯を食べている. Ne? Bob Cratchit is currently eating dinner with his family. Do you see what I'm saying? Both of these sentences are perfectly valid, right? I am teaching Japanese. Bob Cratchit is currently eating dinner with his family. You don't have to make any changes to the form based on who is completing the activity. And we can also conjugate this same form into the past tense or the negative just by conjugating the iru base verb. All we have to do is change that suffix, right? The iru suffix conjugates for tense and conjugates for the negative. Okay, let's look at that for a moment too, right? So we have three sentences here, right? So we have バブクラチェットは家族と晩ご飯を食べている. Bob Cratchit is currently eating dinner with his family. That's ongoing right now because it ends in te iru. Next, Bob Cratchit は家族と晩ご飯を食べていた. And that's the past tense because it's the te ita, ne? And that means Bob Cratchit was, at some specific moment, eating dinner with his family. That was happening at some time, right? Because it's the past tense, we also know that that's complete. It's over. It happened and it's done. But it was happening at a specific moment in time. It was only true for that one moment while that action was happening, right? And then finally we have バブクラチェットは家族と晩ご飯を食べていない. 食べていない. That's the te inai, which is the negative, which cancels out the action. So that was not happening. Bob Cratchit is right now, currently, not eating dinner with his family, right? It's the present tense negative. It's not happening. Do you see? What I'm saying is just by conjugating only that idu suffix, just that suffix part, just the idu, and that's already been attached to the verb, what we're doing is we're creating tense situations that work pretty perfectly to express something that is happening now, was happening in a past moment, or is currently not happening. Okay, so what if we wanted to create a situation where something was not happening at a moment in the past? We want, in other words, to say that a past tense negative sentence is happening in the te form, right? So it didn't happen. Like this sentence. So our sentence is Bob Cratchit was not, at some moment, eating dinner with his family. So our instinct might be to conjugate the idu into the negative form, and then conjugate it again into the past tense form. And that instinct is spot on. That's exactly what we want to do. However, remember that when we conjugate into a negative using nai, we have technically created an e adjective because nai is an e adjective. And so, to create the past tense negative, we need to conjugate nai, but we need to conjugate it as an adjective. And that gives us バブクラチとは家族と晩ご飯を食べていなかった。食べていなかった。Remember, to form the past tense of an e adjective, we drop the e and we add katta. So it is not conjugating as if it were a verb, it's conjugating as an adjective. So what if we wanted to make this sentence polite? We just add des to the end, right? That's it, right? We just make it polite by adding des. So it would be 食べていなかったです. That's a polite sentence. Okay, there's one last thing that I want to talk to you about for the te idu form, and that's combining te idu with te miru, right? So te miru, as we learned earlier, is to try. Te iru indicates that something is ongoing. So as I alluded to earlier, we might want to say something like, Scrooge is currently trying to buy a Christmas present. Scrooge wa Christmas present o katte mite iru. Katte mite iru, right? There's nothing wrong with stringing together things like this, right? Just as I'm showing these verbs, right? What we can do here is we can have the te miru, try to suffix. We conjugate that into the te form, right? So we go from te miru to te mi te. Yeah? And now we've conjugated miru into the te. We conjugate it into the te form so that it can then take iru, just as we just learned, right? And we end up with currently trying to do that verb, right? I want to highlight those things here, right? I think it's important to remember that we're using 3 verbs all linked together into one verb phrase. The verb is kao, to buy. That's in the te form so that it can take miru, to see, to try to. And the miru is in the te form so that it can take the ongoing action suffix iru. And we end up with katte mite iru, to try to buy. I hope that wasn't too tricky or too difficult. I know there's a lot there, but I find it really interesting. But unfortunately, now students, now this brings us to the scariest part of this story. I'm already getting creeps up my spine because we are at the point of the story where we are visited by that harbinger of doom, the ghost of Christmas future. Okay, actually, no, this one isn't scary at all. The te kudasai form that we're learning right now is actually super simple to use. Sorry, ghost of Christmas future, I'm taking away all of your power. Te kudasai, not scary. Essentially, with the te kudasai form, you're just asking someone to do something for you. And if I'm being honest, you almost definitely already know this one. So let's look at an example sentence. 幽霊さん、殺してないでください。殺してないでください. That means, Mr. Ghost, please don't kill me. I mean, heck, you already blew up my classroom. I made this sentence a little bit harder than it was necessary to do because it also has a linked pattern of verbs, as you can see here. Let's highlight them, right? Our basic verb here is korosu, which means to kill. That verb korosu has been put into the te form so that it can take nai, which actually is the negative form of the verb iru, right? So koroshite nai means not kill, don't kill, do not kill, no kill. And then by adding the kudasai to the end of the te form of that nai, that means please do that thing. But in this case, because it's nai, we're saying please don't do that thing. So koroshite nai de in the te form, right? And the te in this case is de, because nai de takes de. Koroshite nai de kudasai. Please don't kill me. And based on what we've learned already, we can make the kudasai anything. It can be any verb that you can reasonably ask someone to do. So examples might be, 座ってください. Please take a seat. Please sit. 座ってください. 食べてください. Please eat. 食べてください. 見てください. 見てください. 見てくださいね. 見てください means please look. Please look at this. Please look at something. Please look at me. 見てください. Something like that, right? The te kudasai form is always polite, and it's always a request to the listener. Specifically, it's a request for the listener to do the verb in question. So whatever verb you're marking that with kudasai and saying, please do that verb. Just like 座ってください means please sit. You've heard me talk about お願いします before. お願いします can also mean please, as in これをお願いします. Can I please have that? That's a perfectly valid sentence that we use really frequently. So you might be at a restaurant and you look at the menu and you point at something and you say, これをお願いします, right? And that just means, can I please have that? Well, we can also use kudasai in this exact same way, right? Just like これをください. これをください. Can I please have this, whatever it is, right? That is also a perfectly acceptable use of kudasai. No problems, right? これをください. Can I please have this? But the difference with the te form is that when you use te kudasai, you're asking for someone to do a specific activity. So you're not like pointing to something and saying, please this. You're saying, please do this specific thing. Just like here. 本を読んでください. Please read the book. Please read this book. Right? So, really, that's all for our adventures in the te form, right? We learned te miru, which means to try to do. We learned te iru, which means ongoing actions. And we learned te kudasai, which means please do this verb. I will have some more complex grammatical patterns that I want to discuss using this te grammar pattern in the future. But for the moment, I think that this is a good stopping place. I am really not feeling well, and so I think I probably need to get some rest and maybe get some hot cocoa to help heal my throat. So, I can't wait to see you all in the new year. New year, new pup, new things are coming. You're going to see my new model soon, and I'm really, really excited about that. And I love you all. Hi there, students. So I want to start out by apologizing. I want to say I'm really sorry that this week's lesson was a little shorter, and a little fast. It wasn't the level of quality that I'm used to putting out, and that's mostly because I am a really sick puppy right now. I have been fighting a really bad flu-like cold for the last week, and it just does not feel good. It hasn't felt good at all, and I'm sorry about that. But I am fighting really hard to get better because my debut on Irium is in just 4 days, and I can't believe it. The time has completely flown by, and it's almost here. It's almost upon us. So, January 1st at 3 p.m. Pacific time, right? I will be on Irium. I'll be live streaming my debut, my brand new beautiful model, which I'm really, really excited about. If you don't know much about Irium yet, Irium is a live stream platform. It's an app. It's currently available in the US. It's one of the most popular live streaming VTuber only apps in Japan at the moment. They recently had their launch in the United States, and I get to be a founding streamer for them, and I kind of can't believe that. It's sort of magical how it all happened, and I'm really, really excited. I can't wait. I've loved everything that I got to engage with on Irium so far, and it's really exciting. Irium has pretty much zero latency, so I will be able to interact with you in real time. So as I give my lessons, as I tell my stories, as I just have fun with you, I'm going to get to be there and interacting with you as you talk, as you type, as you interact with me, as you react to me. I will be able to interact back with you in real time, and that's really, really exciting. So, in preparation for my debut, I recommend that you go ahead and get the app, get the Irium app if you're on a US phone. Um, it's a lot of fun, and there are a lot of really, really wonderful, extremely talented VTubers on the app who you'll get to engage with, in addition to being able to engage with me as well. I will also remind you that in terms of YouTube and Twitch, nothing is changing, right? I'm still going to continue to put out YouTube videos at the same level that I am now, same quality that I am now. I'm still going to put the same amount of effort into my lessons for you, my word of the day for you. I think that's really important. That's where my soul is. That's where my heart is. That's what I'm passionate about. So anything that I'm doing with Irium, that's just on top. Additional lessons, additional Japanese content, and just additional kind of fun with me so that you get to know more about me and you get to engage with me more. If Irium is not your thing, that's fine. I'm going to keep putting out YouTube content just like I am now, so nothing changes there. The only thing that may change, and it's still a little bit up in the air, we're not sure about TikTok. So we'll see where that goes, right? And the less said about that, the better. You can read into it, but I think we all know what I'm talking about. So we'll see if TikTok is going to still be a thing or not. But you can 100%, I guarantee, rely that I'm still going to be on YouTube just like I am now. So watch for my content, like and subscribe, and if I can twist your arm to watch my debut on Irium, I would really love that. I would love to see you there. So I hope that we can engage more and connect more, and we can learn more about each other. So I'm looking forward to it. See you there, January 1st, 3 p.m. Pacific time. See you later, everyone. Mata ne!